I'm so pleased and honored that you've asked me to discuss today my EB5 and my role in EB5. My background is, of course, that I was with the U.S. federal government for well over 30 years. And the majority of those years I was with the USCIS, the immigration agency. And I, in fact, was at the end of the 1990s when EB5 entered a dark period of difficulty. I was part of the group to review the issues and the problems. And coming out of that, the director of the agency asked if I really didn't ask. He said he wanted me to take over managing and overseeing the EB5 program and to tell him or give him a recommendation as to how to reinstate the program, how to make it healthy, how to bring it back to where it could grow and do what the law intended. And I did an analysis and I gave him my recommendation, which was to focus on regional centers in order where you could pool capital from many investors, and then to use that so that instead of $500,000 going into one company and trying to create jobs, you could take $50 million from 100 investors and mix that with another $100 million of domestic money and create thousands of jobs and have a tremendous impact. And they liked that and they approved that and they supported me on that. And so then what I did is I terminated all the regional centers that had been approved prior to 2000. And we had all regional centers that anyone wanted to be a regional center had to apply back for certification and approval. And from that process, even the largest regional centers that are operating in China today are regional centers that I analyzed, adjudicated, and approved. Some of them you may know, CMB, Can-Am, PIDC, CCAE, American Life, various ones. So out of that, I retired from the government at the end of 2009, and I was home and people started to ask me questions because I would say this, in China today, you have hundreds of people coming to China, EB5 promoters, EB5 projects, immigration attorneys. I am the only former U.S. government official with expertise in EB5 who has actually adjudicated and approved regional centers, I-526 conditional green card cases, and I-829 unconditional green card cases. So I have the background having overseen, I was the chief adjudications officer for EB5 for the U.S. government. So with that kind of expertise, you can imagine that people sought out my expertise. And I know there are many experts, quote, running around saying they're experts, but I think if you talk to any of them, they will acknowledge that I am the expert. And what happened was in 2012, I came acquainted, I met at a conference, I met Moses Choi, who is the CEO of the Southeast Regional Center. He's a Korean American. I was very impressed. I mean, he was a graduate of NYU. He graduated in finance. He had worked for a major international financial institution in mergers and acquisitions. He had worked in Hong Kong, in China, in Korea, in New York. He was familiar with talking about mergers and acquisitions of billion-dollar companies. We're not talking million, we're talking billions. And he showed me the project that he was doing. He wanted to bring the focus, because what's happening is in the southeastern United States, in the area of western Georgia and eastern Alabama and southern Tennessee, is becoming a new area, a region of automobile manufacturing companies. General Motors, Ford, Nissan, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Hyundai, Kia. And because of his background in working with mergers and acquisitions and major companies, he got to know the major executives of Hyundai and Hyundai Kia in Korea and their primary exclusive suppliers for the parts to manufacture their cars, which included Ajin and Wushin companies. So he showed me his project, and his project was having to do with automobile parts manufacturing in Chambers County, Alabama, a rural area that automatically qualifies for the lower $500,000 investment. Doesn't have to prove to be a TEA or anything, it's automatic. And it's located in a region with other automobile manufacturing companies. And so I looked at this project and I was impressed, because this was the original purpose of EB5, which was to bring real jobs. These were well-paid, high-skilled jobs for manufacturing production line workers in the auto industry that was growing with a company. Hyundai is the fastest growing sales of cars in America. Last year, they were the fastest growing company, and they're projecting higher growth this year, and they're operating at full capacity. Well, their number one supplier is Ajin USA, which supplies the auto body components for making the automobile. And the supplier to Ajin is Wushin, who manufactures the smaller components that Ajin puts into the larger parts for the body frame that then go to Hyundai and Kia, then go into the production line for making the cars. There has to be a continuous flow of this in order for the Hyundai Kia production line to continue, and now it's operating 7 days a week, 3 shifts a day at maximum capacity, because they're the fastest selling car in America. In fact, so what I was impressed with is I met the CEO, I met the chief financial officer, I went to the company, I was at the production line, I saw this incredible automotive equipment making, the robotic equipment making the cars, the stamping equipment. It's like an incredibly impressive company. It's a giant plant that they started in 2008 in the worst time of the American recession, in the world financial crisis. They built this factory in America. Not only did they build it in the worst financial and economic times, but they flourished. And they came in there, when they came into that county, Chambers County, the unemployment rate was 21%. They reduced that unemployment rate to 9%. They created over 800 jobs in that location. So I looked at this and I saw American workers, skilled workers, making really good money that they then go out and spend. And I saw the trucks driving the cars to the dealerships from the factory. Those truck drivers were employed. Then I saw the dealerships, and they had all the salespeople and all the service people. So I just said, this is an incredible opportunity, and there's nothing like it going on in EB5 today, and I was honored to be asked to be on their board of advisors, and that's how I came to be affiliated with the SRC Ajin Wushin project for Hyundai USA, and I'm now a member of their board of advisors, and in that capacity, I review all materials, I consult with the CEO of the company, I have interactions with the chief financial officer of the company, and together I work with them to make sure that every aspect of the project, every aspect of the finances, and every aspect of how they utilize their revenues towards the repayment of the EB5 loan is 100% compliant with all the elements of EB5. And that's what I do. And I'm proud to be affiliated with them because I can see what a financially successful and viable company they are, because their annual revenues in the United States are about $200 million. Their annual revenues worldwide are over $500 million, $500 million. Incredible operation, fantastic state of the art, and a product that is sold in the United States. So I am so excited and so happy to be affiliated with such an incredible operation and company that to me is unique in the EB5 world. There's no other EB5 offering in China such as what's SRC in Ajin Wushan USA in affiliation with Hyundai Kia USA is offering. Chambers County is a legitimate rural area and is automatic $500,000, automatic TEA. There is no requirement to show unemployment rate. There's no need to gerrymander. You know the term gerrymander? There's no need to take census tracts and manipulate them and manipulate the data to say that you're in a high unemployment area when you're locating the property in the highest rent district of New York City or the highest rent district of Los Angeles and calling that a high unemployment area. I mean, it's a manipulation of numbers. You don't have to do that with here because this is a rural area. The intent of the law and the reason that Congress made it automatic for rural areas is because rural areas in America are losing jobs. They're losing people. And the Congress wanted to create magnets. They wanted incentives to bring people back to rural areas to stay, to enable them to flourish. And in fact, this is very interesting on this SRC project. The county, for the jobs that they create in the county pays them money. So like in this phase, this particular project will create 400 jobs. This company will be paid by the county $2 million US for the creation of these jobs. These well-paying, skilled jobs. And as you know, the requirement is that the jobs have to be for US workers. Well, for the county in Alabama, Chambers County, they won't pay the money unless the evidence is that they're legal workers, which then you have that plus all the evidence to show USCIS that all these are legal workers. It's a beautiful project in every way. And of course, it's guaranteed at the $500,000. When I use the term guarantee, I mean it's automatic. It is $500,000. You don't have to prove anything. It's a rural area. All they have to do is they could Google what's called census summary for Chambers County, and they can see it. To be a rural area, what that means is that the project is located in an area that has no town or city greater than 20,000 people. That is, it can be in a town or city with a population of less than 20,000, or in an area that's not part of a town or city that is not within what's called a metropolitan statistical area. Like, for instance, here we are in Shenzhen. Shenzhen is a metropolitan city, but you could go, 100 kilometers outside of Shenzhen, and that would be considered part of the magnet of Shenzhen, and that would be a metropolitan statistical area. But we don't have that with Chambers County. They are a true rural area. And all the investors know they don't have to live in Chambers County. They just need to know that the project is in Chambers County. It keeps wonderful company with the top auto manufacturing companies in America that are there. And they can live in anywhere, as they know, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, New York, Atlanta, Boston, anywhere. And I could add something that I think is important for investors, is when they look at projects being offered to them, it's very important to look at what's called the ongoing nature of the project. One of the rules that's never discussed much in China by EB5 promoters is that one of the requirements is that an EB5 project, that the investment be made into an ongoing enterprise. So you cannot be a single transaction one at a time deal. So you have to look at the fact that the entity in which you invest is continuing in an active business operation. So for instance, if I'm making a loan, when the loan's repaid, I would reloan the money to another entity. Something like that. A lot of projects don't have that factor in them. They're a single transaction deal. So I think that's something that's important to appreciate when you look at loan offerings. Thank you. Thank you for the honor.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. A nice trip.
Thank you.